Now, we start with, and we don't have a lot of time for it, we got to do it right. I'm excited. Uncle Bucky.
Yeah, Uncle Bucky.
Uncle Bucky.
Yes. George Herbert Walker Bush. Remember him?
Yeah.
He was president before Clinton.
Yeah, good old 41.
He has a brother named William Bush, William H.T. Bush. Like, if you're a Bush, you have to have, unless you're the dumb one, you have to have a couple of middle names. So this is William H.T. Bush.
I think an H or a W covers it.
Yeah, but
it's got to be in there somewhere.
Yeah, but
so we're talking about H.T. Bush?
H.T. Bush, otherwise known as Uncle Bucky.
Uncle Bucky.
Uncle Bucky is 67 years old. He is George Bush's, the current president's uncle, and they call him in the family Uncle Bucky.
So he's H.W.'s bro.
And it turns out that a report filed with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission shows that William H.T. Bush, as we know, Uncle Bucky, collected just under $1.9 million in cash, plus stock valued at more than $800,000 from the sale of Engineered Support Systems Incorporated to DRS Technologies of New Jersey. Nothing illegal about that.
Sure,
that's
no
fine.
problem.
The $1.7 billion deal closed at the end of January of this year, and I guess it's been reported now. Both firms have extensive military contracts.
Huh.
Well, we're starting to get a little warm now. It turns out that Bush was a director of ESSI, and he was paid cash and stock in exchange for shares and options he obtained as director.
Sure.
Okay. Well, before DRS purchased it, Missouri-based ESSI experienced record growth. As a result of expanded U.S. military contracts.
Oh!
Many of those contracts, you'll be surprised to know, went to supply U.S. efforts in Iraq and Afghanistan.
No shit.
Yes. Now,
really?
Now, remember we thought we would have that we wanted to refit military vehicles in Iraq. There wasn't enough armor, as John Kerry was pointing out a lot in his campaign. Well, those contracts, some of them were awarded on a no-bid basis.
To these guys, to Uncle Bucky.
Uncle Bucky's company got a $77 million deal to refit military vehicles for Iraq.
I don't want any Republican to ever claim, if you still support this administration, to ever claim that you're in favor of the free market. Because you people have no idea what the free market is. Capitalism? Please. Please. No Republican who still supports George Bush can ever talk about capitalism again. Another no-bid contract to another person related to the administration. This time it's Uncle Bucky. But better yet.
Yeah, difficult though it may seem, the story even gets better.
Right.
There are other products by the same company that were used in the war, including detection devices, radar stuff, and
very important. Helps
generators, and things like that.
So how did Uncle Bucky do in protecting the troops?
We'll keep going. SEC filings show that 2 investigations of that company are underway. One involves a stop order from the government on those generators that they put in the field. The order was issued because the units didn't operate properly, which, that happens. Companies have things that don't work, and that
especially
is not,
if they get no-bid contracts.
Well, not as reprehensible as the no-bid contracts themselves. There's no bid, so they don't have to work. It doesn't matter. Okay, now, the generator contract, a major source of revenue for the company, the file showed that the ESSI did not tell stockholders about the stop order until last June. So the stop order came 7 months before that. They didn't tell stockholders. So during that 7 months, it seems that several executives, including Uncle Bucky, cashed in stock and options worth millions of dollars.
No, that can't be true, Michael. No. Uncle Bucky would never do that.
I just want you to know, I am as surprised as you are.
Is that insider stuff?
It is insider.
It is, in fact, insider.
Well, it's banking on knowledge. They didn't. It has to be proven. This is what's alleged.
He should go to prison like Martha Stewart and knit a punch.
Well, he will. But here's the thing: there's a 7-month gap there. These are allegations, but it's they're not uncommon these days. And the 7 months between the end of the previous year and that June, there were sales of stock going on, and Uncle Bucky was profiting before they released information that there was a government recall on their product.
2 months after they knew, Uncle Bucky sells. 5 months later, they let the rest of the public know. I wonder how that worked out. Let's see how those charges work out. Now, let me recap really quickly. So, and the part that Michael didn't tell you is that Uncle Bucky joined the board of this company right a couple months before Bush was elected. So he's are a company that might get military contracts. They hired the guy who at the time, might become president, his uncle, nice little insurance policy. I don't know if they hired Gore's uncle at the time as well, but they hire him for their board.
Right.
Next thing you know, Bush does get elected. Uncle Bucky's in a great spot, and Uncle Bucky's company all of a sudden gets no bid contracts for the war that his nephew started. Interesting. And all these no bid contracts, nobody else is even allowed to bid on it in this free market capitalist country. They tell us, hey, you don't like your wages going down because there's immigrants coming into the country. Hey, it's the free market. Deal with it. We say it on the show sometimes. But, of course, the Bush relatives and Uncle Bucky, they don't have to deal with it. They just fix it.
Right.
So they fix it. They get the contracts. Then do they actually do the job? No. The radar stuff breaks. Our troops are endangered. Now imagine if Clinton's brother or his uncle or his nephew or someone got a contract in Bosnia and then the stuff broke and didn't work and it endangered the troops, and then we found out no one else was even allowed to bid on it, and then that guy did insider trading. Now, how do you think the Republicans and the press would have reacted?
They would be all over this guy.
It would have, not only all over this guy, immediate talk about
and
impeachment.
The press. What about the press that would be on that?
Oh, yeah, but the press here, there was an article written.